Witch Doctor.
Prepare for battle. "30 seconds to battle."
Stuns, lots of burst. Centaur's all about stun and burst. Razor, pretty decent burst with the Plasma Field if you time it well. Fade Bolt. There's a lot of instant spellcasts, and then you look over at Team DC, and it's not really the same. That's more about consistent damage over time. You have the Death Ward, the Familiars, Clinks, in some ways may be considered burst, but they don't have the same amount of like obvious stuns and control, so they're probably going to try to play a bit of a farm game and try to avoid fights early, and then when their Visage and Clockwork are level 6, perhaps then that's when they try to look for at least some sort of fights.
Okay, and I mean, they were talking about it specifically in the draft, and the fact that they have picked Morphling up in Game 2, no less, where there was still a lot of kind of more in the meta heroes available in the draft. I mean, why do you feel this game of any would be the one for you to pick up the Morphling?
It's not really counterpicked, so there's no instant silence on the enemy team. Yes, there is a bit of stun, but if he times his movement very well, he is going to be difficult to gank, and he's also not that fragile against relocate. That's one of the things that a lot of carries struggle with in the game that makes IO Tiny so good, is that you can't play your standard split push game against IO Tiny because you never know when you're going to get relocated on. But guess what? Morphling actually can. You just have a replicate back in base, you split push and farm, oh, there's a relocate coming in, you just jump to your illusion. Like, then you're done. And even if you don't have one, you can still waveform away from the replicate, or sorry, from the relocate target. It's pretty decent. He's also, he has the ability, of course, to replicate the Tiny. That can be pretty powerful in the mid game, so I think it's overall pretty good here.
Okay, and in terms of the Tiny and IO in the mid lane, going up against this Morphling Witch Doctor, I mean, CS-wise, a slight edge at the moment for your Wise, breaking ahead with a 5-for-1 against the 1-for-1. Is this a clear... Did you expect this lane to be won by the combo of the Dire here, or is it just DC playing it a little bit better?
They should win this lane. Double range against IO Tiny is very strong, and the ability to initiate here for Bambo, which is often what you want to do with IO Tiny in mid, you want to try to find an early kill on either the support or the core. It's very difficult for them. Like, Vireo has very long attack range, he stands far back. They can't go on Yawar ever. This lane can't kill a Morphling, it's just impossible, so... Yeah, I think they're going to have the advantage of just playing the range game, and if they get the better rune control as well, then IO will definitely not be doing as much as he would like.
And in terms of the other lanes as well, we've obviously got this dual off lane coming out from the side of 4 Clovers, where they're joining forces with the Rubik and the Centaur to try and do what they can to I guess, try and shut down TC. At the moment, he's doing all right. He's 7-for-1 at the moment on the Clinks, and opting to leave Pike out on his own against Bulba, which I guess is a fine decision, seeing as Razor seems to be doing quite well against the clock here.
Denied.
Yeah, Razor versus Clockwork is an easy win for Razor. He's actually a little bit behind on CS here, which I think is impressive. In one way, it's not that surprising, because Clock has the better base damage. But apart from that, you know, the moment you get 2.7 static link, as we're seeing on Pycat right now, then you should be able to take control of this lane pretty easily. We'll see.
In terms
I would be surprised if he doesn't.
Yeah, the tempo of the first game where we saw Bambo very early on being able to be incredibly active across the map. Is this one kind of just a waiting game for the IO to get level 6 before we see too much action from the side of 4 Clovers?
Yeah, probably. I think both teams will not have that easy of a time making kills super early. But I think the team that will be looking for them the earliest will be 4C&L. The moment, they don't necessarily need relocate, I think, but it's more about how difficult it is to gank the lanes of DC more than anything. Like it's hard to gank top lane. Clink's obviously with the skeleton walk available. The mid lane, as I already covered, the Morphling being a hard target for them. Maybe the Clockwork is a decent gank, but is it worth the effort is the question. Like, if you rotate 2 supports down there, you lose your mid lane. Because they're dual laning there, so you have to keep tabs on all the lanes decently, and so far it's looking okay, but it is a slight lead for DC early on.
Yeah, it certainly feels like that. I mean, just looking at, for instance, the CS of our offlaner here, Swift Ending, he's losing out in terms of comparing to the Clock, and Clock's actually sitting at the top of the CS board. I mean, he really is not struggling too much against the Razor, at least not as much as maybe kind of hero versus hero you'd expect to see.
This is Bulba's best hero in Dota. So if there's a hero he's going to shine on, it's going to be Clockwork, and you know, like I said, this lane should be Razor favored, but if he gets hit by the power cogs like 2 or 3 times, as you're seeing he must have been, if you look at Pyket's mana, then it gets tricky. Like, the way Razor wins this lane is by doing this, right now. And Bulba, every time Pyket runs after him and tries to drain, you can always just do this. He mistimed it a little bit here, so Pyket didn't get the knockback, as we're missing, actually, 2 kills. I don't know if he got that on camera. He did not.
Well, the trade
Today
on the
we have
top-
Pimp Muckle on camera.
Yes.
All right.
Not me, guys. Not the play-by-play. No, he's been doing a great job. We'll let him off. We'll let him off. He's fine. But so
Yeah, he
the
did a
first
better
blood-
job than you in Game 1, that's for sure.
First blood, of course, goes to the side of 4 Clovers there. They did claim it before Visage was able to get the return kill onto Centaur. So the first blood being the Centaur, getting the kill onto Clinks. That's a pretty good start for the side of 4 Clovers.
Yeah, it's what this lane can do. It's just, if you get the telekinesis into the Stomp of Centaur, the amount of burst damage between these 2 heroes is really, really high. And Clinks, until level 6, when he has the Death Pact, can actually die from full health almost just to the combo here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them trying again very soon, with Saksa just walking in for the telekinesis back. And AOI has no counterplay, is the other thing. We might
Now
see it
he's
happening
trying to-
right here. They're
Yeah,
thinking
move
about
in
it.
with a Grave Chill, but he's just
I'm
a little bit
surprised
too
they didn't
tanky.
just kill AUI. Like, if he starts playing aggressively like that, you get a telekinesis, you toss him over. He has very little magic resistance. That's one of Visage's innate weaknesses.
Oh, they're
Alright,
going
now
to
they're
go
going
for
on
Clinks.
Clinks.
With the
Yeah.
lift, the
Have a
stop,
look
they're
at
going to
this.
have the double edge as well, and it's going to bring TC incredibly low.
Oh!
One more last hit would have done
Wow!
10
Use
HP.
the run right.
Himself.
Thank you. A little bit of...
He's a speeder.
Yeah,
but
that's
look
the
at this.
grave. The grave chill actually did save him there. The attack
It
speed
did, yeah,
reduction
to stop
on
it.
Centaur stopped an attack. So
Rotations from the mid lanes as well. We've had the Witch Doctor and the Io coming out for their respective teams to the top. Tethering up Swift
It's a
Ending. He's just
good
trying to move
dial
in.
ward.
Just make sure no kind of pulls coming through to the side.
did
And
you have
Witch
a
Doctor
look at the
hiding
sentry
tree
top,
line.
by the way? The rightmost sentry that the Radiant have is an
Ooh.
inch from seeing that obs, and that obs is what's saving DC from a smoke gank right here, or not a smoke gank, rather a rotation. The IO.
Indeed, they know that Sax is hiding around here on the corner. Aoi himself in the tree line. We're waiting to see if Swift Ending comes a little bit too deep. And Biryu is still there on this Witch Doctor. So they're ready to try and jump on 4 Clovers if they get a little bit too greedy. Rubik's actually going to head elsewhere across the map, looking toward the mid lane. Yawar has been given a lot of space. So at the same time, Bambo's headed back off to clear up some of the jungle camps with the help of EGM. In top lane, they're trying to go in. They know Swift Ending's on his own. They've got a fair bit of damage here with the Clinks. 3 points in the Searing Arrows. Maledict as well, taking him down. He's trying to juke this one out, but Aoi's moving forward. He's got a Soul Assumption. The charges aren't there, but he's waiting for the Grave Chill, which he's going to have in a second, and here we go. DC should be able to close the gap, and they should find this with a couple of arrows to the backside, as they will pick off the kill onto the Centaurs. So, nice realization there from DC that there were no supports top, and even though the ward's now expired, I think that kind of did help kick that one off there.
Yeah, you would... I mean, these early kills are definitely... I think this is the best lane for DC to get a kill in, because if they don't put pressure on the top lane, this Clinks can really get slowed down a lot. He got that one death only, almost the second one, and now getting TC involved and getting him a little bit of momentum is very important. It's such a great hero at shutting down the IO in the mid game. If you don't have a Ghost Scepter and Clinks gets up behind you, we're talking 4 or 5 attacks and your IO is dead. And sometimes you don't even have an option to tether to anything to stay alive, so...
Ooh, straight away, Bambo TP'd up to the top lane, maybe looking for a toss onto the Centaur to get him on top of that Clinked, but he's going to be TC playing it the safest he can, backing himself off into the jungle. And still mid lane, well, we've got Saxa. He's come here to soak up some of the XP against Yawar, but Yawar's had a lot of space. I mean, he's now sitting at 44 CS, 8 minutes in. He's been having a grand old time in the
Good
bottom
shot.
lane indeed. Pycat caught out by the cogs, but he's getting a good static link off here. Stolen 112, 140. He's got to be careful though, because Yua's moving in on the Morphling, and Aui's there ready and waiting on the high ground. Gets the Grave Chill off. Pycat trying to do what he can with the stolen damage. It isn't enough to find anything in return, and it'll be Aui picking up that kill there with getting himself onto a killing spree. In fact, he's picked up 3 of the kills, all of the kills for DC so far.
Was a very good TP. The way they set up that entire kill was actually really beautiful. Bulba goes in for a one-on-one that he can't win, but he knows that Morphling is collapsing from the top, and then they have Visage coming from the bottom. So it's basically a sandwich on Pycat, and there's no way out of it. He's going to get crushed by one of the buns, and then he basically chose the right one. So AOI did get the kill there as a result of that. Else it would have been the Morphling. Under those circumstances, probably the better choice to give it to the Visage. But you know, you don't want to die ever, right? But if you do die, Visage is one of the worst supports to die to, but probably still better than Morph.
Looking at Bambo's farm at the moment, he's sitting on 2,100, so, I mean, is this potentially just a straight-up Blink Dagger after the brown boots here for Tiny?
Oh, you know, we've just seen so many games from Bambo now in this tournament where he gets a blink and goes.
I was going to
berserk,
say,
right?
if there was going to be someone to do on Tiny, it would be Bambo.
Yeah.
His
definitely
play
when
style really kind of complements that early pickup if he can get it.
Yeah. And most of the time on Tiny, if you want to rush a Blink Dagger, a lot of the time you can't really do it because you need some sort of mana item. You need treads to tread swap, or maybe you need an occasional bottle we will see. But when you're with Wisp, of course, you do have that extra surge of mana that can come in from basically Wisp being a walking battery. And then if you play it that way, then all of a sudden, you look at his mana pool right now. Like, he can combo once, and then he has 100 mana left. And then you're just like, well, do you go back to base, or what do you do? But knowing that EGM's got his back, he can play like this. I'm really curious to see what his priorities are. That's the thing. Like, when you commit to a 9-minute Blink Dagger, you gotta make it work, right? So who's the key kill in Bambo's mind here?
It's going to be interesting to see what he opts for as well, because there's been, they've kind of swapped to the lanes for the time being on the side of DC. They've sent Aoi down to soak up the XP on the bottom lane. He has managed to get his level 6 online, and Bulb at the moment just making the pulls. He's got that hook shot available, so kind of waiting for someone to come out in this top lane and to get that hook shot in and allow TC to lay down the damage here and find the inevitable kill. But it's going to be Bambo that heads to the top lane. He is smoked up, but maybe the fact that Bulba is here on the clock will allow DC to turn this around if Bambo oversteps the mark. He's moving forward here. Has got the backup of Swift Ending, of course, level 7. Stampede is available. And we'll see if Bambo's able to find anything, but I think if Bulba continues to hang around here, this could really pay off for DC. Oh,
relocate.
Okay, straight behind TC. They've already gone in, and well, that's going to be a kill already. Bulba, even though he's there, the hook shot did come out, but he didn't achieve anything. Biryu tried to TP out, will just get himself away. But the fact that they send all 5 heroes up to the top lane here with a very nice relocate to catch out TC means they get the kill, and they don't lose anything in return, and looks like they'll even be able to claim this tier 1 as well.
Yeah, this is a really, really solid gank. They know they don't have enough burst damage with the Tiny, but relocating in... Yep.
They're trying to close it onto UI. He's got the mana to shift out, and now Bulba's coming in, moving in with Battery Assault, just lays down the cogs to push them back. Hasn't really got the kill potential there, but I've got to be honest, so far, even though it's 3 for 2 on the board, that was a little bit, well, a good momentum shift there for the side of 4 Clovers. But I mean, how much, I feel they need to start worrying about Aoi. He's been given a lot of time down on this bottom lane now reaching on to level 8, and he's got the medallion, 800 gold on top of that as well now in the Visage.
Yeah, they don't have the best counters to the familiars in this game. That's often what we will be looking at going into the mid-late game. It's where Visage is very different from other supports, is that even when the hero dies, you can still have a big impact, and sometimes the birds are more important to keep control of than the hero as the enemy team. They don't have quick attack speed on the Radiant. Like, killing these familiars is going to be very difficult, and that means if he rushes and Ags, which is something we don't see that often these days, most of the time we get a...
Biryu, he's walked out, but Bambo's there with the blink and the 1-2 combo. More than enough to bring down the Witch Doctor. And all of, because kind of these very nice Radiant Observer wards here in the Dire Jungle, meaning it's going to be very hard for any of the side of DC to make themselves around this jungle in safety, because there's always going to be a relocate or a Bambo waiting in the sidelines with a Blink Dagger.
Yeah, they need to make sure they don't lose map control. So what they're doing now is that they're trying to trade for the enemy tier 1, either to force a rotation so that they can farm safely in their own jungle, or if they just get the tower, that's great. Then they start getting the same access that they just had taken away from them to start playing the map. So I think this is a very good play for DC under these circumstances, but 4CL in turn are just making... They're reading the situation and they're making the best counterplay they can. If they can't defend the tower, because they're too late, just deal all the damage they can mid right now.
Indeed, it's, well, they did have 4 heroes down the DC, but still, Yawar sticking himself away from the fight. In terms of CS, it is, well, it's the top of the board for both himself and TC. Net worth as well. So Yawar's farm is looking pretty impressive. I guess it's just kind of a question of how much he can do with it. I mean, Draskell talked about in the draft how kind of a core versus core in terms of morphling against Tiny might not be favorable. I mean, what's the build here for Yawar, and when does he start to look for fights?
It looks like he's going for Midas. I think that's a mistake this game. You know, it's great if you feel like you can be greedy, but if you look at the composition of DC, if both Morphling and Clinks need a lot of time to build up, which it does look like Clinks went for both Soul Ring and Aquila and Treads, so that means his actual damage item, whether it be an Orchid or a Desolator, will be delayed pretty much. If Morphling goes for a Manta or a Yasha, let me try again. If Morphling goes for Midas too, then all of a sudden 4C&L are just way stronger. Even if the net worth is even, their lineup just has way more fighting potential, and they could just take full control if they see that greedy build. I don't know. It looks like it is what Yawar is doing. I think either you go the Linkens into... Oh, wait, Pycat's dead.
Giant to death ward.
Gone.
No way he's getting out of that one for the Razor, and well, DC will find themselves a tasty pick-off. And yeah, as you're saying, well, Yawar's now accumulated that gold to get that Midas if he so wishes to do so. And it's, well, it's kind of Bambo and the gang, they're kind of sticking away from their own jungle. I think they obviously realize what's going on the side of DC, and they kind of just want to pull them apart elsewhere. Centaur's finding some space up top. He's, of course, got his blink. 900 gold coming up on top of that as well. So if the fights do kick off, I kind of feel that 4 Clovers, they're in a pretty good position to take them.
I think so, too. I wouldn't be surprised to see them just looking to force fights with these really good aggressive wards. Actually, both teams, interesting to see that the wards are pretty much mirrored around the middle of the map. They have good coverage around the enemy's jungle, but not so much around their own. And in my opinion, that just favors 4CL, because the moment DC rotate into their own jungle, they get relocate ganked. I don't think 4CL have been playing on their own side of the map for the last 2 or 3 minutes, because they're actually just scared to go there right now. Whereas Pycat, yes, he did get ganked bottom, but he's still going there again now, putting some sort of pressure, while DC slowly but steadily lose their tier 2 top. Now finally AOI is going to ping it. Someone's got to defend. They're like, well, no one really wants to go there right now, so... Tough situation. They should try to Roche, I think, the Dire. I know it's very early, but you have Clinks, you have Morphling, 2 hard hitters, and you have Medallion and Visage. Then you at least force something out of the map when you know the Radiant heroes are top.
Yeah, they need to do something to kind of stop 4 Clovers getting away, because at the moment it just feels that 4 Clovers are putting their game plan into place, and DC don't really have an answer for it at this point. They are still continuing to farm up on Yawar, and with the Midas picked up, I guess they are anticipating that if they take this game late, they're going to have the upper hand. I mean, would you agree with the lineups in mind?
I think a lot of it comes down to whether Centaur gets an Axe at a good time. You can negate so much of the physical damage that DC output with a Centaur Axe, and it's very difficult for them to prevent him from casting a good, well-timed Stampede. They don't have massive single-target lockdown. Now, finally, they are going to go for Roshan, by the way. Oh, nice hook from Bulba.
It looked a bit dodged, but it latched on. Bambo straight in with the blink onto 2. Has managed to burst down the Witch Doctor. The Soul Assumption will find the Centaur in return. TC's out of mana, but he does manage to get off the Skeleton Walk. He's on the retreat. Owie just popping back a Soul Assumption. Bambo trying to chase it down, but the Familiar stuns very nicely, catching out all 4 at the side of 4 Clovers. Bambo moving forward. He's going to blink in. Has got the Avalanche. Toss as well onto Yowie and Bulba. Bulba gets bursted down with the Fade Bolt. Now Owie with the Grave Chill will be able to steal that damage to get himself out of there. But a 2-for-1 trade favouring the side of 4 Clovers, and well, 4 Clovers proving that this might not be the time that DC are going to be able to get away with a quick cheeky rush.
Yeah, I think they just... You see, this is what happened. They just went there too late. It looked like they got the idea, but they got it at a point when 4C&L already took the top tier 2 tower, so they didn't want to stick around anymore. Like, what 4C&L had been setting up for 2 or 3 minutes up there was accomplished. And then they go for Roche. Yeah, probably not the right timing. They get away with it okay there, I guess, just trading 2-for-1. But it's still... We're at a point now where DC are starting to lose map control, and they can't afford to get relocate ganked, especially their Morphling, who has to play very carefully. As I mentioned, of course, with a Replicate, will be a difficult target. So perhaps they can make it happen just because he is their position 1 in this game. Or actually, he is the mid laner, but I think he is going to get the most farm this time around, so... Yeah, maybe they can make it work. It's interesting to see. At least this should slow the game down a bit.
Talking about kind of slowing the game down, I really feel that for Clovers, they're going to be able to amp it up tenfold. Once Bambo's finished his Aghanims and Pycat with the point booster, now he decided to opt back from Midas himself. We'll obviously look to get the Aghanims online as well. I mean, the pushing power from the side of 4Clover is just going to be unrivaled by that of DC's. And I'm just kind of looking to see what DC are going to be able to do to stop that kind of push once it comes online.
If you lose a team fight as DC, post 25 minutes, you lose the laner Rex. Relocate.
Yeah, they're going to find it as well. Bambo with a very nice blink down with the dust as well. Catches out TC. Pycat's there to ensure that they do get the kill. And well, we kind of expected it with the old Tiny IO combination. And Clinks, well, with the Skeleton walking that movement speed, not necessarily the easiest hero to catch out, but 4Clovers certainly make it seem that way.
That was really close, by the way. He was almost out of that avalanche, and of course if that doesn't hit, he doesn't die. So the 10% slow on Dust actually secured that kill. It's not that often we see that nowadays, that the slow makes, or sorry, 20% slow. It's not that often we see that make that big of a difference, but this time around it was actually necessary to find the kill.
And how's Howie doing on his road to... Oh, okay, so he decided to finish off the Solar Crest, and he's got the 1200 now. If he wants to work towards the axe, they're actually going to go for a smoke themselves here. So let's see what they're able to do. It's only Saxa that is on this bottom lane. He's trying to find his way towards that Blink Dagger, potentially. 1400 gold in the bank at the moment. But he may just be tanking this gank here as DC move in. I don't think there's any way that Saxa can save himself. They don't have any kind of relocate to offer any kind of backup. And yeah, Saxa will just get taken down. They're easy pick off of the side of DC. But, well, as I said, he did kind of tank the gank there with that smoke.
Yeah, not the worst situation for 4CL here. They get to farm at the same time. The question is, what can they accomplish? Because what we're seeing right now from DC is that because of these relocate ganks and because of the threat of not knowing where the enemy team is, they bunch up a lot. And for this kind of fights, if they find either the IO or, of course, if they find a straggler like that, it's super easy. If you find a single hero, you just blow them up.
Ooh.
They find the IO for
Roche again.
Maybe. Yep.
I mean, now he's moving
like
in.
4CL are not expecting this.
Yeah, the Solar Crest is going to make it pretty quick. They've got to react quickly if they want to try and make a jump. Bambo moving up to the high ground. He's found Biryu and straight away the combo. Trying to get the punches in as well. Toss should finish off the Witch Doctor. It will do. Roshan still alive. They haven't quite into the pit. And what? DC, they'll get away with it. Oh no, more. Okay. 4Clovers actually managed to kill Roshan. DC do end up getting the Aegis onto the Morphling though. Nice hoof stomp onto Howie. And oh, they caught out Bulba as well. They get both of them. 3 heroes down at the moment on the side of DC. Is it going to be any more? Looks like Yawar's going to be able to get himself back to base. TC just farming the jungle. So Radiant are able to steal the Roche kill. How the hell did they kill Roche? I'm hoping we've got an instant replay of that because it looked like it was all DC. They have 4 members in the pit pounding away at him, but somehow the IO Spirit.
Oh wow, that is... I don't think I've ever seen that before. That is so lucky. That's unbelievably lucky for 4CL. Wow.
Enter God mode.
Enter luck mode.
There were 4 heroes. A Clinks, a freaking Morphling, a Visage was so good, hitting away at Roshan. I don't know. Well, Bambo's the big casket is very nice. Bounces between the 3 of them. Howie with the soul assumption. The bounce is continuing to be an hindrance. We'll be able to turn around and get the avalanche off. Trying to find that Soof Stomp, but whoa, he's going to toss back ball. But Deathfall comes down. Swift ending going low the waveform. We'll finish it off. Yawar with a kill there. TC, while he's able to find Bambo, this is 2 big kills. EGM will be able to relocate out, but he's going to be coming back in any second. And I don't think 4Clover are going to be in any form to try and turn this fight. I doubt Pycat. He might try to look to go for the Tether escape, and he's sure the cogs push back. No, they dispatch of the IO before he has any chance to tether across to Pycat. And that's a big fight there for DC. 3 pretty high priority kills at this point.
Yeah, 4CL fall a little bit to their over-aggression there. It's understandable they're feeling confident. They just had a really good fight. I think they did get the tier 2 tower in that push at the very least, but good response from DC, definitely keeping them in the game right here. Gonna pull the graph quite a bit down here, but just imagine if they got the Roche kill themselves. Like, this graph would be so different right now. the gold would be close to even, and instead it's a 3k lead for the Radiant. So, big
they
there.
want to defend this. Swift Dennings TP'd in. There's also going to be a TP from Bambo, but Bambo...
Perfect bird drop!
Hookshot as well, this is massive! Soul Assumption, they'll bring Bambo down! Now the paralyzing cast and Swift Dennings, Picat's turned up. We'll try and fight through this, but Biryu is still alive here. Yawar as well, and now TC lays down the damage. They've found the Razor as well. Swift Dennings does get himself up to the high ground, will escape, but now they're chasing down Saxa. Aoi looking to try and find the Vision here for the Grave Chill. And Saxa with the Stolen Rave form will be able to get himself away. TC needs to be a little bit careful as the spirits are flying through. And DC may just leave it at that. They lose Bulba, but a lovely initiation means that they catch both Bambo and Pycat in another fight that DC came out on top of.
Yeah, the DC lineup is really starting to come together right now with all the physical damage they have. If they find Bambo early on, in my opinion, the fight is almost unrecoverable for 4CL. It's about finding the Tiny or the IO and just playing from there. The single target physical is definitely an issue, and Razor with this Midas buildup, it's just really weak right now. Like you can't really tank, you can't really deal damage. You have to wait until you get your Axe and maybe your secondary item, which in this particular situation, I don't think that I'm a little bit questioning the Midas pickup from Pycat here, because it just, it doesn't make sense for what their lineup is meant to do in this phase of the game. They're not meant to slow it down. They're meant to take the fights right now and be strong. And he just dies so fast. He has 6 armor. Like
he picked the point booster up and then picked up the Midas. So do you think it is a kind of a direct correlation to the fact that he saw that Yawar was going for Midas, and then they kind of wanted to try and plan around that and say, well, we're going to be taking it to that stage of the game anyway, but you feel they may have been better just going all in and trying to end the game as soon as possible? Yeah,
exactly. It seems like you're playing into your opponent's hand, right? If you see, oh, their hard carry is going a Midas, well, then our Razor will go a Midas too. That's just, if that was the reasoning, I don't agree with it. But I think Pycat might have had another reason, that he just felt like, even if he went for a standard build-up, that he had died too much and he needed to pick up the pace, not against the Morphling, but just for himself, if that makes sense. But you're seeing it now, right? In these last couple of fights, if he would have had a bigger item, I think they would have had a shot at a fight. But instead, he's a liability until a bit later, and that means Sexy Bambo needs to really carry through this stage. So in turn, if he dies first, they can't win the fight.
Yeah, we saw it happen in the mid lane. Well, let's see what happens at the top. Bambo trying to get a bit of damage down onto the tier 3. Aoi has responded. And now Biryu and Bulba join him as well. Yeah, Bulba's got the hook shot ready. He might look to set something off. It's going to be a little bit scary though when there are 4 members at the moment on the side of 4Clever hanging around. No vision for the Dire in their own jungle as well, so it's going to be very hard for them to try and take a fight at this point of the map.
With this, it looked like the plan was to start establishing a point of siege here, and then just with Pycat's Ags flying out, that they wanted to really try to press it, but they get forced back bottom. Good split push from Yawar on the Morphling. He also has the Replicate and base to get back. And he's going full combat build, by the way. I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but when the Sanjin Yasha, he's got another 2200 here, so looks like this is going to be a very stat-based build. We'll probably go Sanjin Yasha maybe into Scotty. He can, of course, choose to disassemble this later, as Morphling is a really good Manta-style carrier by nature. And then, I don't know what you would use the Sanj for. Like, it's not a good well, maybe a Silver Edge against the Tiny would be okay, but it just seems pretty lackluster here. And also the Halberd is not what you want. Well, Evasion's decent, but yeah, here we go. It's probably going to be a Scotty. There's the first ulti orb.
Okay, indeed. And well, after they tried to make that push on the top lane for Clover, they've kind of retracted a little bit. Bambo now sitting on 2.5k gold. I mean, on top of the Ags and the Blink, what does he go for now? Is it just going to be the straight up AC to help with the push?
They need AoE armor. So I think I would love to see Vlad's and AC on 4CL earlier than in other games, because if you identify the situation, what are they dying to in fights? They're both supports on the enemy team have physical damage. Death Ward and Birds. Then there's a Cligs with Deso, and there's a Morphling who's starting to hit hard. Like, it's an absolute no-brainer. You need to fill up with armor or Ghost Scepters. So the Ghost Scepters, speaking of that, they have one on Rubik.
Can set this. I mean, EGM is there, and they know it. They found him with the rocket flare. This is big. If they can take that IO away from the Tiny, now certainly Bambo, he's stuck all alone. He's trying to get close for the relocate, and he will. Does manage to get himself next to the IO, and it will almost certainly just be EGM paying with his life. I don't think there's any way that 4Clever can try and form a fight around this point. They will have to let EGM go as he returns. They do catch out the IO, but I've got to be honest, nicely done there in the sense that they do manage to save Bambo from the onslaught.
Yeah. minimizing their losses, but they're not really accomplishing that much right now on the map. They had a really good... the fight around the Roche Pit was great, and then they lost another fight, and now the game is slowing down. And again, I think this overall will favor DC. Razor does not carry as well late game. IO Tiny can easily get kited by this kind of lineup that DC has. Of course, you've got the bird drops, you've got Grave Chill, which is exceptional against the Tiny. Clockwork Cogs, Force Staff on him as well. Just play around, kite them, and then Clinks and Morphling will just win the DPS battle. So I think it's concerning for 4CL if they don't start making more things happen right now, and it looks like they are trying to apply the pressure, but good hold here again by DC. Top lane Biryu doesn't push that hard, but he at least gets the momentum going their way, and then he knows that ultimately 4CL will have to defend this.
Indeed, I mean the rest of the team coming down and now. Aoi making his way over. Aoi, worth noting as well, he's only 100 gold away from finishing off that Aghanim Scepter, so doing very well here on his Visage. TC, he's got the BKB now complete, that's going to be sent out to him, and well, against 4 Clovers lineup, the BKB is going to do an awful lot. And we'll see how well he's able to stand up in the fights next time they kick off.
Yeah, how are they going to kill him?
Well, how are they going to kill him and Yawar? And once he's got that Skadi online, he's going to be quite a nightmare to deal with.
When he's BKB'd, the damage source 4CL has is a cleaving Tiny who doesn't hit that hard on single target right now. He's going for butterflies, it looks. I think that might be a really good choice this game.
Oh, he can deal with that. He walks it off. A couple of ticks from TC, and he will just step back.
Those couple of ticks took almost half his health. That's the problem right there. Like,
you got a funny definition of almost health, Synderen.
Do I? He bottled twice, right? Okay, maybe not. Maybe he took like... he took more than a third, right? Okay, so... Instant replay it.
Just to
Here
check
we go.
the maths there.
Who was right? Alright, I can't see the replay, but I'm going to say that's definitely at least... that's around half. That's good. Alright, now, as we see here...
Yeah, definitely exactly a third. Exactly a third. So
that is pretty much half. Thank you, Pimp Muckle. Great. Your replay tool is obviously broken,
Thanks,
so
man.
we can't really use that for it. So, yeah, it's... I mean, the whole point is, let's transition this, all jokes aside, into a team fight situation, right? That's the whole point. Like, TC plinks him a couple of times. In a team fight situation, there's multiple sources of damage, and if TC can just get on top of Pycat, he can't stay. Now with the plate mail, it's going to help, but it's still... There's a way to go here for the Radiant, tanking up against these massive attacks. I think Pycat going for a Shiva's Guard here would be really good. The attack speed slow aura is exceptional against the Dire lineup.
I mean, at the same time, do you think it's going to be just the AC because Bambo is opting for the butterfly?
Yeah, I was thinking, is he going to do that for that reason? But you know, they're building evasion on Bambo, which I think makes a lot of sense looking at the Dire lineup that they're not close to any MKB right now. So for now, this is the best item for Bambo. 20 minutes down the line, it's not. But right now, he just got a Rax almost for free. I don't know why DC... No TPs or what's going on? They have plenty of TPs. They're giving a range traction for what's going on.
Well, they managed to catch out Bambo. Well, Bambo just turns around for a toss onto Yawar. Bulba. He's found EGM with the help of Aoi and Biryu. They should be able to find that. So that's going to be the first casualty here, getting that IO. Bambo
they saw Bambo with the rocket.
Flare has spotted him out. Bulba leading him with a hook shot. They've caught Bambo in the sidelines. He's trying to turn and punch Bulba, but the Death Ward will enable the side of DC to find themselves the kills. So they get 2, but as you said, they do give away a ranged Rax on the top lane, but
not worth. They got 2 kills for a tier 3, a ranged Rax, and a tier 1 bottom for Saxa on the Rubik.
Oh wow.
He can buy a mobility item right now. The Rubik wasn't even there, so he just... That's just a blunder. Now TC will find that kill on Razor, so... This is when we see him really dealing that physical damage. And, okay, you know, finding all these 3 kills, perhaps it's okay after all now that they find Pycat and also get the tier 1 tower top, but considering that they could have probably just defended that with 1 TP, that was really weird to see.
I mean, they'll, as you said, be able to regain some kind of momentum on this top lane. They've won the tier 1. And it's just the illusion here from Morphling pushing it out. No, TP will be cancelled, so they don't want to get themselves involved in this. And yeah, you are now with the completed Skadi S&Y. So this Morphling, I mean, we were saying it earlier, he's going to be very, very hard for the side of 4 Clovers to kill. He hasn't died a single time this game, and I'll be honest, regardless of whichever way this scoreboard goes, he's not going to be dying a lot more. I kind of feel, Synderen.
No, it's looking really difficult to deal with him. And here goes the U2 tower top for DC. Should be a pretty easy pick. No defense ready here for 4C&L, so... I think this is when DC looked to turn on the heat. They made a blunder, I gotta say, and lost their Rex top, but they should be able to control the map well enough to get the Roshan right now. And once they get that, an aggressive play, I wonder if they want to put the Aegis on the Morphling or the Clinks. Both of them actually pretty good at breaking the base, so that's a nice thing they've got going for them. While they might not be the absolute fastest as bringing down towers, they're pretty tanky. Clinks at this point in time, 13 armor. When he has a Death Pact running, he's got quite a bit of health on him, and Morphling even tankier, 23 armor and 2k health. So
Dire's bottom tower is
it's,
under attack.
I think it's the right time for DC now to make that call and go for a big play where they start getting Rex. Because if they don't and they just slow play, it's possible that they get caught off guard again. And we saw how quickly Tiny took down that lane of Rex, or that range Rex. That was without overcharging, without his butterfly that he almost has now. So it's going to be a lot faster next time. There goes Rush.
DC with the free Roche here, nothing that the side of 4 Clovers would have been able to stop. And, well, that's going to go the way, of course, of Yawar. They've now got a Bulba closing in on to his Aghanims, 1200 gold on top of the point booster. So he'll be able to get that online within the next 5 or so minutes. And Pycat, as you said, yeah, is that the... No, he's still 500 short of the Hyperstone, isn't he? So, but nonetheless, very, very close to picking up that AC on the Razor. And of course, level 16 as well with the Ag. So the pushing power certainly is there from 4 Clover, but as you said, we're kind of at this point where DC, they're very ready to kind of just take a fight head on, and if anything, come out on top of the side of 4 Clover if they play it right.
This for 4 Clovers right now is all about, I think either you dodge until the Aegis is gone, or your team fight needs to be super crisp. This Morphling is actually a beast now with his inventory, and 2 lives. I don't know if they can deal with it anymore. I think, once again, they might have been a little bit too slow. It was kind of a godsend that they found that top range Rex. I think it's going to be their only Rex in the game. I think it might be too late now. They need a really good play.
Well, we don't know if there's anyone to make really good plays going from the last couple of series. Bambo. I think they'll be riding a lot on his big decisions here. Oh, Pycat, they've spotted him out. The hook shot, and TC with the damage. Now with that Demon Edge on top of the Desolator. Melts through Pyke, and that's even with what he's got a decent amount, 18 R at the moment. They're trying to chase down, maybe find even more Bulba. Trying to move himself in position. He's got the 4 stuff and the cooks available if he can find the angle, but Max is just a little bit too speedy, will be able to escape. But Pycat down for 50 seconds. This is kind of the second time in a row that we've seen the Razor get caught out by the lineup of DC, and, well, it's going to cost the side of 4 Clovers a tier 2 at least in the mid lane this time.
And this time, DC are not going to let it happen. So AUI ports down to bottom. It intimidates Bambo as well as EGM away. Now Bambo's starting to feel a little more confident as he sees more heroes. Mace is going to start going to hit a little bit. Actually putting a lot of damage into Aoi here. But Birds get some.
Grave Chill and the TPs, but yeah, the relocate straight out. They need to get Bambo out of there.
Yeah, so EGM is dead now.
Yeah, there's no way that he's going to be able to get himself out. There is a creep wave coming in. Maybe he can find a tether, but with the familiar stuns and the cogs.
Best of luck.
It's enter hard mode here as, yeah, EGM gets himself shoved up to the north. Aoi will find himself the kill. Now it's going to be IO down now for 50 seconds, and as you said, 4 Clovers trying to go for a bit of a repeat of the same old trick. This time it doesn't pay off, and DC are totally on top of it.
And what are we looking at for items? I think, is this an MKB for Clinks? It is, so now they've countered out the Butterfly of Tiny as fast. That's what I was saying, right? The moment he gets the Butterfly, right in the moment, it's the best item. But now, perhaps, here and onward in the game, it would have been better for him to have an AC and having the Shivas on Pycat for mitigating damage.
Can he?
He could
go
maybe kill Swift.
I was going to say, he's...
That's... No, he can't. He has 4 staff and Stampede. No way. With these friends of AUI, though, they could. But now backup is there. Wisely don't go in.
I guess the question is now for Yawar, who's been having a pretty spectacular game so far. What's he look for now on top of the Skadi? Where does he go from here?
I think he could go for a Butter, because there's no one on the Radiant team who wants to get one, an MKB. Neither Razor nor Tiny have that in their core, even full 6-slot build. Sometimes you have to get it, and even just forcing them into getting it would be a great choice from Yawar. And it's also just an incredible item on Morphling Butterfly in general, since you can always just put that extra little bit into strength, where other heroes, by getting Butterfly, sacrifice indirectly EHP against spells. Morphling can just be like, oh great, I built a Butter, let's just put a little bit more into strength from my Morph, and make it work that way. So, I think it's really good here.
Top lane, Bambo is there with EGM. Playing up Yawar as he comes forward. TC is down the sideline. They're going to go straight for it. Bambo in with the blink of the damage onto Yawar. It's a huge amount, but he does manage to begin that morph. Tries to turn and fight. In fact, Yawar has got the Aegis. He's ready for round 2. Bulba, the hook shot will miss, but he gets himself close. TC did manage to finish off the kill onto EGM. And now the damage onto Bambo. TC, with the MK being desolated, just melts through the Tiny. And Bambo hits the deck for a minute. No buyback in the bank for him at the moment, and this could be pretty damn costly for the side of 4 Clovers.
Great play from Yawar. I think a lot of players in that situation just jump to their replicate, but he identified that if he baits them long enough, his team will be able to help, and the Aegis was not far from expiring anyway, so he just uses it as a tool to bait the enemy team in and get his team in a great position to at least get one lane of Rex here. He has a replicate.
They're trying to fight Yawar here, but they just can't control him. He just moves back, and I mean, that's 3 heroes in the mid lane. They've got to have TP, surely. It's a TP on Swift. Okay, they can back. Pykat's just trying to go for a little bit of a push, but I kind of feel that the pushing power with TC, with the damage he's got on his Clinks, is just going to be superior from the side of TC, and 4 Clovers need to do something to stop this. They've popped the fortification, but DC just stand there strong. They've found the tier 3, head towards the racks now with the Stampede. They're trying to fight, going forward, telekinesis, but no, the Who Stomp. TC getting caught up with the Death Ward from the low ground. Biryu trying to fight through it all. Blade Mail is not going to save Swift ending. He goes down, he drops along with EGM. Bambo's yet to re-enter the fight. Pycat out of mana, almost out of health as well. And DC remain there. They did lose TC. They will decide to back off. Now Bambo is turning up. He's trying to look for the cleanup, but Yawar starting to morph into strength and turning to fight. And more Owie with the damage from the Familiars will bring down Bambo. He's now down for 70 seconds. Swift ending, getting shoved back by the cogs. Bob with the old little walk around, pops the Blade Mail. He will pop himself. Pycat gets caught out by the stun. Zaxa, the bounces, the adaptive strike, pushing back the Rubik. Now they try and chase down Owie. Owie moving back, but the blink forward is there from Swift ending. Hasn't got the Who Stomp for a couple of seconds now. He's just going to look for the TP out. They will find the kill. Saxa with a stolen adaptive strike to cancel that. 3 heroes taken down with the side of DC. And 4 Clover, they do manage to defend their racks. The Familiars are trying to do what they can, but Saxa's going to be there to beat them off. But I'm sure
Saxa
is to go in.
just saving the base there. I think he got 3 or 4 adaptive strikes off. This is really interesting. That can happen when you're playing Rubik against Morph. He stole Morph earlier in the game, morphed Max into strength, and now he's stolen adaptive strike. So his adaptive strikes are super long stuns. Like, this guy right now has a 10-second cooldown, 4.25 second stun that he can just target on anyone on the Radiant, just giving so much time for them to actually get the damage done that they're kind of lacking in that department, but if you give them enough time, they will get the job done. They do hold the base. It was expensive, but only losing a range there I think is a big victory for them with those conditions.
That's a very smart play indeed. I mean, yeah, as you said, with the adaptive strike, and if you take into account the telekinesis, that's a good, what, about 6.5 seconds of lockdown. And then it's only a couple of more seconds before you're able to get in a second adaptive.
Yeah.
And it's so disruptive against the lineup, especially, I mean, the Clinks has got a BKB, but the Morphling, of course, not opting for that. It is going to be the Butterfly for Yawar as he picks up the Quarterstaff, 4.1k gold in the bank. And yeah, even though it looked like a nice death ward from the low ground Biryu as well, with the fact that he hasn't got that Axe online yet, it's just a little bit lackluster. He is closing in on it. He's got the point boost of the Ogre Club, 1k gold on top as well. But as you said, 4 Clovers hanging in nicely here.
With an Axe there, the game probably would have ended. I think Biryu was able to channel that for a good 3 or 4 seconds.
One off, yeah.
Yeah. So that's another good thing for DC going forward here, is that they're closing in on that. Only 900 gold to go. So that's one good team fight, or just a Roshan, a little bit of farm.
He's moving down. Pings are coming out. The flare did fly over. And they've got all 5 here. 4 Clover. They're ready to go. Maybe this is it. They've got the AC on Pycat. They realize that this is the time to fight and to catch them out. Bambo moving forward. The paralyzing constant. Here's the death ward again from Biryu. He's getting a lovely channel off here. Zaxa will be able to get himself back. The Stampede has been popped, but now the cogs trapping the Rubik in place. Soul Assumption brings Zaxa low. Sending the Familiars as well. Rubik going to be the first casualty here, as the rest of the side of 4 Clover will continue to retreat. There's going to be the relocate out, and whoa, it's the relocate in fact. Bambo and EGM straight up to the top lane. They're going to get themselves a cheeky racks. Owick turns out saying, what the hell happened here? And Bambo clears out the lane, and he'll back himself up. They did lose EGM on the relocate back to the bottom lane, but you said it earlier, Sin, these are the kind of plays at this point that 4 Clover have got to go for if they want to stay in the game and potentially win it. And, well, that was perfectly done there by the side.
Yeah, they really made the best situation out of no situation right there, getting a lane of Rex. Considering, like, there was really nothing they had to get there apart from just getting the hell out of there, and that's also why DC, they weren't even expecting that play. It took them completely off guard. Even AOI TPing in is obviously not enough to stop it, so very nice. Instead of just relocating back to base, at the very least, they do get 1 Rax, and just sacrificing Wisp for that, totally worth it. It's still not looking great for them. I'm still having a hard time seeing them getting the second lane. We saw here, they're manning up, they're going for the push. They don't even get the tier 2.
Swift ending. He's been spotted out by TC. Bulb was there as well. And the damage, 1, 2, 3 to 4. Oh, the stampede of the 4 staff looks flashy. It's not flashy enough, and that's going to be Swift ending down for 80 seconds.
Did you see how much that stampede did?
That's
what I was talking about earlier.
Suddenly tanked those hits from the clinks, that's for sure, but wasn't quite enough.
That 60% damage reduction is disgustingly good, but that's not the situation you can do it in, right? But he might as well try. The cooldown on this is lower than his respawn, so go straight. Relocate mid.
Relocate. Okay, Bambo and EGM, they want to go for another bit of it. They're going to find the tier 3, and now the hookshot from Bulba is there though. EGM getting low, trying to keep himself alive, but he'll get popped. Now Bambo, he's all alone. TC with a right click. They'll bring down the Tiny. And at the moment now, 3 heroes dead on the side of 4Clover. They do find the tier 3. They got a little bit of damage onto the racks, and okay, they're finding more. They've chased down Pycat. Pycat will initiate the static link, but they've got the control. Biri just drops down the death ward here. They want to find this Razor. They want him dead. They're going to chase it down. Owie with a rod of Owie, in fact, and it's going to be Pycat. Pops the Eye of the Storm, won't do anything in return, and he is down Tiny. Flying back, and the action's going to continue because Yua's trying to get a push on. He's found Saxa, but Saxa has the Ghost Scepter. Bambo doing a lot of damage here. Yua's got to be a little bit careful. Turns around with the adaptive. He's into agility, so the stun length is not there. Saxa continuing to chase, and Yua just a little bit too speedy there. Will be able to get himself out and away. The tier 3 was taken. The rack's now exposed.
This is a Roche if they want it.
Pretty
DC.
crazy.
I think, yeah, Barrier's going to scout it now, and they're going to go for that.
Yeah.
They probably don't feel like they have time to go for a Rax. They also don't feel confident that there's no buyback on the Razor, which is, of course, the case right here. But yeah, they get a Roche. It's going to be even harder now. Once again, I feel like I've said that a lot of times, but, you know, 4CL are doing the best they can. I think these split push plays are the play they have. Almost making it work there in the mid lane, but good reaction this time around from DC.
And what's this coming out to Bambo? He's sending the courier. Is that a... Okay, that is going to be very close. Yeah, he's not quite got the gold bunny. Just 300 short of that second Hyperstone. And Bambo will have his Moonshard available. Obviously, committing the buyback there for that defense on the bottom, not needing to save any money for a good 6 minutes. So once you've got the Moonshards as well on this Tiny, you've got to be so careful as DC, because if you do get that opening like they have to previously this game, you're going to lose racks so damn quickly.
Yeah, well, this is absolutely a struggle right now about dodging fights for 4CL.
Yeah.
How can you dodge fights and pressure enough that you get the opening you're looking for? One blunder from DC could be a loss. But at the same time, we're talking a really big blunder, and on 4CL's side, I don't, you know, even if they get 6-slotted on Tiny and Razor, I just don't think they win late game. Like the supports on the Dire scale so incredibly well in comparison. Rubik is starting to fall off. So is the IO, of course, only sitting on a 4-staff. The other side, you've got a Witch Doctor with Aghanims. You've got a Visage level 19 with Ags, Solar Crest, Rod of Atos. You bring up the net worth, and you just see AUI, he's 5th right now on net worth. Witch Doctor, second to last, still does way more damage in a teamfight than Rubik.
Now we'll see what the play is going to be here is DC. Coming around the mid lane. Bulb's going to find himself an Invis here, you are. Using the space here on this top lane, 2.7k now on top of the Butterfly. And the creep wave just being pushed in on the bottom. The tier 2 will drop. Now with the deny there. So
that's important, actually.
That's yeah, extra bit of space that now it was another lane that they've got to be very careful about.
Yeah, this allows them to take megas in one push.
TC.
So if they get that opening now.
Looking for the bit. That's a sad IO.
I mean, you've got to empathize with him, but at the same time, that's fucking funny. Like,
poor EGM.
He just disappeared. He needs a Ghost Scepter badly on this IO.
I'm surprised he hasn't managed to find it sooner. I guess he's...
The 4-staff was a good pickup against Clock. Like, yes, it makes a lot of sense to at least have one on the team.
But he's getting close and personal. Hookshot on Swift ending. Back south. Forces himself in. And, well, Saxa's going to be the focus here. You are moving forward, but the Ghost Scepter from Saxa, he will be able to get himself out. There's been a buyback from EGM. They want to try and keep these melee racks alive. Bambo moving forward, and here we go with the avalanche toss combo onto Yawar, but Yawar goes straight in onto Bambo, and the damage. Bambo's going to drop TC there with the final touch as the arrow flies through. BKB's been popped. They'll head their attention towards the racks, and they'll clear out top lane, and they may just be in a position to look for more, as that's going to be 80 seconds on the death timer here for Bambo. And all mid lane, Pycat, he's trying to take a page out of the book of Bambo, and the hook shot missing will mean that he actually gets away with that very kind of cheeky bit of play there.
Yeah, that actually saved a set of racks. I think DC, they're starting to get paranoid about their base, and they TP way too many heroes home. They should know the Tiny doesn't have buyback because it's on cooldown. He used it only 4 minutes ago, I think. And they just sent the whole cavalry back to defend against the Solar Razor.
Yawar's just going straight in. He knows that TC's there, and I don't think the side of 4 Clovers realize it. They certainly do now, pounding away, but the Stampede is there. The damage reduction is real. They'll pop the Aegis on Yawar.
TC doesn't have mana to use his Skeleton Walk right now.
Now he does.
Unless
Saxon wants to jump.
He's getting knocked down. Thank you very much.
Up to the high ground. Cheers, boys. And well, I mean, bit of a crazy fight from both. I mean, it's 31-13, but 4 Clovers, they're hanging in. They are going to have Bambo back up in 15 seconds, so... And, well, almost certainly ready for the defensive. Fortification's going to come back online in 10 as well. So they're going to have a good chance of holding it. Telekinesis onto Aoi, but Yawar moving forward, wants to fight, looking for Saxa. Soul Assumption flies through as well. They're turning around, they found the stone, now the Death Ward being laid down. They've got to be careful how close they get. Bulbo with a hook shot onto Swift Ending, gets himself forced out of the cogs. He's going to be okay. Bambo is now back. They've lost the tier 3. And it looks like DC, they want to just get themselves out of it. They're scared of Bambo. Bambo looks for the avalanche, won't find it. Adaptive Strike flies through. Gives him a bit of a tickle, and well, the racks do stay intact. They lose the tier 3, but the defense is real, and it looks like, as you said, DC are just being so damn careful about the fights they take at this point.
Yeah, slowly but steadily, this is starting to become a clearer and clearer DC success story. Just one more. No tier 3s remaining, just 2 sets of racks. Sure, they're still exposed in their own base. That's why this top lane right now is 4 Clovers' only path to victory, I think.
Oh.
They need to push that in so they can backdoor, because DC will definitely not allow them to push mid or bottom. This could be... It's double damage on... I think this is the Hail Mary. Now you go.
This is big. This is big. Swapping the bottle over to the side, giving him that DD. Ready and waiting. TC.
TC saw them, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say he popped it when
Alright, bye EGM.
Poor EGM. Please press F to pay respects there.
Please press F to buy Ghost Scepter. Donate for Ghost Scepter for poor IO.
Oh, he's lost a lot of money, I guess, with a buyback. He was on about 1,400 at a point. Yeah, it's cost him.
That's just the end of the push right there, right? 4C&L are like, yes, we got a double damage, time for the YOLO play. Oh well, our IO just died in half a second, so now we gotta go back. Unfortunate.
40 seconds till he's back up. I mean, the question is, can DC do anything in these 40 seconds? They know that there's no buyback, but the IO, of course, pretty much the least of their worries at this point. Nonetheless, they'll start to get the pressure in on the mid. It's got TC working his way down the bottom lane as well. And yeah, these two very naked-looking racks here in the middle of the bottom lane, looking very scary. If TC gets his hands on them, you know how quickly and he's going to go for it, potentially. Look, he's ready to jump as soon as any kind of fight kicks off in the mid lane. He's just going to go for it now. Turns the melee rack. There's a fortification available, and it will be popped. TC does manage to force that Bulba straight in onto Bambo. Bambo turning around, and oh, Bulba, you need to be careful there. Get shut the hell down. And now Bambo moving forward onto Yawar and Biryu. Biryu gets out the cars. TC with the damage onto Bambo, but Bambo is able to lift Biryu. Now with the ult, they eliminate the Aghanims, but it does get cancelled. No one to die other than Bulba as of yet. Pycat coming in with the Eye of the Storm, and DC again a little bit scared of continuing this fight. They do back off, as they did throw a lot into that.
That's
again,
big for
4
DC.
Clover hold the base.
It's big for DC though. They only lose the Clockwork for the reveal of the Refresher on Centaur. He used Stampede twice and they only found 1 kill. I think there was a little bit of miscommunication. Seemed like his team wasn't ready for the second go-around, or they just didn't feel like even with a second Stampede they could fight. But this is 2.5 minutes, which is easily a Roshan for DC. I think it's spawning within the minute that probably 4C&L can't take. Like, this Refresher is basically 2 Stampedes, right? You've invested 5,000 gold into a great item that you can use once every, what's that, 2.5 minutes? A bit more? 3 minutes, rather. 3.25 even. So, when that's down, a lot of the net worth on the raid is just worthless. Like, these stats on Centaur for 5k gold, 10 HP regen, 250% mana regen, and 20 damage. Awful trade-off for what he paid. So they got to make the most of that, and they just didn't in that situation.
They're ready to fight again. They've 4 Clovers. They're not giving up yet. They're ready to power down the mid lane. Let's see what the side's got waiting in store for them. But TC, we looked at the DDs earlier. He's going to find... Oh, is he going to go for the courier, reveal himself here? It's not got too much on, but it's a courier kill nonetheless. And that will be shut down. And, well, they've got to be careful, especially swift ending. I mean, Stampede's nice, but a TC double damage, I think it can still do a lot of work against him. And he's going to be lucky, TC, just heading into the Radiant jungle.
He hits for 700 per attack right now.
That's not bad.
He
might still be able to find swift ending here. I mean, the double damage, nah, he's
Are you sure?
Does he try and fight the backdoor regen here?
Okay, let's have a look. Oh my god! They don't have glyph! Oh, he could have finished it. He could have finished that.
He got cold feet there.
Yeah. Wow, he got really scared. He could have BKB'd for that melee Rex. I think that would have been totally worth it.
Can't TC. Well, nonetheless, the fight might still happen because they're smoked up DC here by the Ancients. Bulba. Looking for a hookshot. Saxa. He's going to walk in and Saxa. Oh, he could be the one tanking this. We'll get the telekinesis up, but it just doesn't matter. Owie! With the Soul Assumption in Yuar with the adaptive strike. Bulba, he's found this hookshot onto Swift Ending. Does manage to get himself onto the high ground, but at the same time, Bulba there, ready and waiting to chase it down. Blink 4 from Bambo, looking to disperse the clock. Bulba getting low, has the blade melt. Doesn't matter, one more slap will do it, but it's actually TC who's found EGM once more. There's going to be buyback from Saxa. And TC pops the BKB. Now with the IO down, Rubik is back up. They have lost the clock, so once again, maybe DC might be a little bit careful about pushing this in. I mean,
they should just kill Roche. I'm not sure why they're taking so long. That Roshan has been up for 3 minutes. It's their safe way.
For it here.
Okay, I mean, maybe if your Morphling is like this ridiculously fat, maybe you don't care anymore, but it's a risky play.
A good static link. This is a nice static link. Paralyzing cast, therefore doing the damage. Pycat gets the BKB off. Will start to back himself away. Bambo moving in, looks for the Avalanche. Will be juked out there by Biryu. And they did, as you say, you lose the melee racks. Nearly losing the range racks as well.
They will to the siege creep.
They will. The good old Carty finishing it off. It's,
and now
it's
they'll
the slow
rush.
Siege. It's a successful siege there from DC.
Yeah. That was the most they could get in that push, in my opinion. If they don't get a really, really great team fight, they can't get 2 lanes. They have to use key cooldowns to get the first set. Now, just Roche, they reset, and then they get the second one. This is looking very solid.
Yeah, let's have a look at the difference. Oh, it's over 20,000 at the moment in net worth. I guess the game is getting pretty damn late, though. We're out 55 minutes at the moment, and 20k as well in terms of XP. They're going to need some big, smart players here on the side of 4 Clover if they want to try and play around DC's power at the moment. It is certainly the favourable one, and what do we reckon to this, eh?
There we go. I am totally
the
down with
Bambo
this.
Play.
All in.
Let's see what it can achieve. There may be a fight. TC's going to spot it out, though. Willie notices the Rapier. Bambo moving forward here onto Owie. The damage is not quite enough, even with the Rapier. Owie's able to get off the Grave Chill and will live. They've lost already the Aegis here on the side of DC. Yoar's going to be back for round 2, and Owie actually getting the killing spree as he finds EGM Swift Ending, trying to chase down Owie, but they can't quite find it. Bulba's there with a hookshot to save Owie, and now Bambo's caught out. They've lost the Rapier. Rapier hits the deck. Bambo now down for 85 seconds. They can't kill Owie. Owie's not even going to die amidst the entirety of that. Owie will live on. And this, at this point, this is it. GG well played is called. The Rapier pickup was admirable, but at the end of the day, the fight was not. And DC...
Wait, who actually has the Rapier right now?
Did anyone even bother picking it up? I imagine.
I was hoping TC picked it up.
Let's have a look.
Wanted to see him 4-shotting Rex or something?
Oh, jeez, no one. I was on the ground, yeah, no one bothered. Right. It was over. They might have not have even noticed it in the whole of it. I'm sure they would have. I mean, it kind of dropped in the tree line. But nonetheless, it was an admirable fight by 4 Clovers. DC, just a little bit better at the end of the day, eh? Sinned with that one. I mean, do you think it's down? What, down's the drop? Was it the Midas Morph? I've got to be honest, the Yuar Morphling was quite...